And there's a lot of focus on the gridiron this week, but it's not like every day you get to see an inaugural home opener for an expansion hockey team. And unlike past years, people aren't going to be waiting in the dining hall for their sausage. They'll be getting in the car and going through the drive-thru. Right now we're at $12,659, and it is all for this thing right here. Look at a little honk right here. See, that's why we need a new one. Robert, I'm going to have you hold the mic.
Okay. Link. Bam. This guy's a natural.
For some reason, my score just doesn't seem to change, so I guess all the problems in the world can't be fixed. There's a new Wilt Chamberlain in the world of women's college basketball, and her name is Ayoka Lee. I kind of think about it as if you dumped a puzzle on the table. You know all the pieces are there to make the picture. It's going to take a little bit more time. While you're driving, while you're on that icy road, the first thing you're going to want to do when you're going along, take your foot off of the brake and then turn your wheel to the left. As the new year approaches, hundreds across the country will be flooding back to the gyms to meet their resolutions by doing a lot of this, and this. To sum up what they said, they think that this problem is worse now than what they initially believed before coming down to the border today. So the hope is that this bill gets signed and furry friends like this one are going to be protected. Live in Wichita Falls, Michael Grace and River Grace, News Channel 6. Well, Chris, clearly that's the case with what you see behind me, just a row of brand new houses, and a lot of it has to do with low interest rates. It's kind of giving people the okay to go ahead and buy that extra 100 square foot of material or whatever it may be. The question now is, will the industry be able to keep up? Most of the time, they'll just walk out to their field, take a look at the soil, and see what Mother Nature is telling them. And prescribed burns like this really live up to the phrase, killing two birds with one stone. Well, sort of. Multiple birds with one stone. Well, since this story has come out, Governor Greg Abbott did tweet that the situation has been resolved. All the hostages are safe after that 12-hour standoff. Police say this is still under investigation, but it is a very sad day when you have someone die and you see reactions from family members like that. Live in Wichita Falls, Michael Grace, News Channel 6. A must-see before we all gather together again bright and early on Saturday at the start line. Dream International Ice Racing. Anthony, what is this sport? And she ultimately hopes that this won't turn into a jump ball situation. For the past 30 years, three things have remained constant in Major Kim Feinauer's life: music, a red kettle, and Christmas spirit.
It's really remarkable how music touches people.
Feinauer joined the Salvation Army 40 years ago, and at the time, he knew how to play piano and the French horn. The only problem?
I found out, first of all, the Salvation Army didn't use French horns.
Of course, like any daring musician, he taught himself how to play the instruments that they did use. By 1989, Major Feinauer was a Salvation Army officer and able to play 30 different instruments. And when it was time for the Salvation Army Red Kettles to make their return, Major Feinauer made sure the instruments came with.
The first year I did it was in Atlanta, and I played for about 10 hours a day using this French horn, this same instrument that I have right here. And I found after 10 hours of playing a day, by the end of the season, I could do things on the horn that I could never do before.
As the Major mastered his craft, he also began touching the lives of those who heard his music on a daily basis. He says he has at least 20 different people approach him each day, saying how much they appreciate him playing, some of whom are brought to tears.
In a way, it's special, but I think anybody can do it. I've seen people out there who were in Santa costumes, or who were just really outgoing with people and could bring a blessing to them. So I realize it's not just an instrument that does that. People have their own talents sometimes, a way of connecting, but it's really remarkable.
So whether it's performance or a simple gesture, goodwill can come from anywhere in the eyes of Major Feinauer. And where there's goodwill, there is also music, a red kettle, and Christmas spirit.
Sometimes it's those intangible things that are life's greatest blessings.
So you're honored to do this?
Yeah, for me it is. It's an honor.
If one thing is certain, it's that 2021 has brought higher prices for just about everything. And now, more than ever, the effects of inflation are felt here on farms in Texoma.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Kenneth McAllister has been in the ag business since the 80s and says the biggest growth on his farm right now isn't from his crops. It's from his input costs.
You know, a year ago we was giving $15. Today we're giving $54 a gallon for Roundup. Diesel a year ago was $1.24, somewhere in that range. Today a load of tractor fuel is going to be around $2.75 to $2.76.
And even with the high market price for crops and cattle, turning big profits is few and far between.
A lot of times we think, well, the farmers must be getting rich because look how much meat costs, but it's a very, very small percentage.
We're just handling lots more dollars to make less dollars and, to take home.
And it's not just input costs going up, it's also the price for equipment. Now, McAllister told me that this machine that's used to pick cotton used to be around $250,000. That price, it's now jumped up to $750,000.
You just go to adding all this up, and next thing you know, you got $1 million tied up in equipment, and you still ain't got a crop planted. It's just getting harder and harder by the day, and a young guy that wants to go get started, I question why. Why do you want to go do this? I mean, are you wanting to lose money? Because I don't see how you can figure out where he's got it penciled out he's making money.
McAllister says there seems to be no end in sight, and so his costs grow, so does his faith and hopes for change.
I just don't know what we're going to do in this ag deal, because you got to believe somewhat that he's taking care of us, or you just think about this. This is not just here, this is nationwide.
But you're right. In the last 2 years, the number of rounds here has risen higher than Phil Mickelson's flop shot, except this time it has no plans of coming down. When it comes to municipal golf courses, making money is about as hard as it is for the average Joe to shoot under par.
2/3 of the golf courses, the municipal golf courses across the United States don't break even. They actually cost the general fund or the taxpayers money to operate.
And that trend has been the case for the Champions course at Weeks, with the city usually budgeting $80 grand to operate the facility and make up for its losses. But when a global pandemic hits, it forces you to get outside and find a new hobby.
One of the issues was people were wanting to get out and get out somewhere other than maybe a jogging track or bicycling, and where better else to do it than on a golf course.
In 2020, the course finally broke even, and now they've got their sights set on green.
Things are skyrocketing as far as that's concerned. The number of golfers is just unbelievable. We have days where we put 170 to 210 people through.
Every time we look at the monthly numbers, you just got to get excited.
To put things into perspective, the course is on pace to have almost 30,000 rounds played this year, and more importantly, make a profit. And it's money that will go back into the course to ensure people come back to play over and over and over again.
Great asset, like I said, for this community to have a course like this.
We do have a treasure right here in our backyard, and we want people to come out and use it.